Okay.
I have last introductions, Rob Green. K Company have been here since December 27th. And this is my 3rd year as a broker. Actually, I get to renew my license this year, so I'm excited. So that means I'm still here, because 90% of us washed out in year 1, and then there's some horrible statistic about how only the remaining 10%, there's like of the 10% remaining, how many, there's a large people, the remaining 10% that only do 1 or 2 deals a year. So the majority of business that we're doing, things that we're all getting, is actually being done by a really, really small group of people. So don't let anyone tell you that this business is easy, right? So that's why I always say, oh, you're in such a good place. So anyway, so what I wanted to say is my background is I've had 31 sales in America. I was in sales the last 10 years before getting into real estate. I was national account manager for Granger, for national accounts. For some reason for that, was Rock, so I was there for 21 years. And so I've had a little sales experience. And one of the things that I've been going through real estate school, and I went to Armbrust, and for those of us that have been, it's the freaking hardest SAT I've ever been through. But I passed the real test on the first try. But one of the things I realized that's going through the class is, for going through school, is that I was amazed at how many people I was in class with who've never, ever been to a closing. They've never bought a house, never sold a house. And I went into real estate after my corporate career because that was about the only thing that I was like, that I know how to do, because I've made a lot of money, or I shouldn't say, I've made decent money on buying and selling my own property. So I always thought that there should be some sort of finishing school for brokers, especially people that haven't had a lot of business experience. And what I want to talk today about is running your real estate practice like a business. We forget that we are our own bosses. We have no part of the great thing about being here, no matter what age you are now, is there's no corporate hierarchy. There's no reports or memos to write. No emails that you have to feel compelled to respond to on a Sunday, unless they're from your clients, but nothing corporate. So we're all here because we want to be independent business people. And I think that we forget that there's that aspect. And part of that really goes into business planning, right? So if you're to be successful, you got to use the standard model for running a business, right? In order to achieve your goals, you need plans, and you have to adjust your activities as the business grows. Or as I say, think of it as you own your business, right? So every morning you wake up, you're the CEO. And so there's not a whole lot of people that can do that every day, right? You say I'm the CEO. So a lot of things behind that. First of all, the characteristics of a successful business, you got to start with a plan, right? So it's got to be comprehensive. Well, actually, let me step back for a second. How many people have a business plan? 3, 4. Okay. You have one because I told you, right?
You told me to have one.
And I can show you later my plans that I did for my first 2 year, but I showed this to Jamal last week when we were having coffee in Starbucks. I said I got tired of sitting down with Microsoft Word and Excel spreadsheets. So this here is my H2 2017 plan. It has a name. It's called Back to the Basics. And so it has what my goal is, $4 million, what my average sale price has been for the first half of the year, which I think is wrong, number of transactions I need to get to what I want to get to for the end of the year, and my mission statement, which is to provide my real estate knowledge to clients and helping them find their dream home, making Rob Green their first choice when recommending a realtor to family, friends, and coworkers. And objectives. What are the objectives that are tied to that? Being known as a concierge realtor, which I can explain another time. But my objective, I obviously want to achieve my goal in dollar numbers. I want to build my pipeline for next year. I want to continue to learn the business, cultivate first-time home buyers. I worked with a couple this beginning of the year, and I love them. And then I took advantage of 100% of my transactions come from my sphere. And then I did the A, B, and C, what each of those of my sphere, the A, B, and C. So your A people being people that are going to refer people to you, buy from you, what they get from you as far as marketing, what the B people get, and we'll go more into this. But I was going to say, this is my plan. So you don't have to get all fancy. I can show you, if I showed you my ones from the last 2 years, they're in Microsoft Word and PDF. I actually ran them by people outside of the real estate world to make sure that as a business plan, it sounded sound. In here on the page 2, I have the tools that I use, like American Lifestyle Magazine, my monthly mailing with my mortgage person and HomeBot, my website, and I have tactical. What am I going to do every day, every week, every month, and for the year? And so, and then I actually put on here what resources that I have. So, like, I know John through Ninja training, and we have another person that we've been doing Ninja follow-up. So it's a resource for, we got questions, land title for marketing, K Company for resources here, and then I'm doing the CRS program. I'm in the networking groups. What are the groups that you're affiliated with? So this is my basic, simple plan. I wanted to start off by showing you that, well, first of all, finding out how many you have one, because you don't need one. But it doesn't have to be as complicated as I used to make it be. And I can actually get this out of my book here at least once a month and take a look at it. So that's the whole purpose of making it this simple. Okay? So let's continue. So you need a vision statement. Where do you want to go? Mission statement. How do you want to get there? What are your operating and marketing goals? And we're going to talk about expenses. So taking a look at your calendar, what are you going to do every week? What are you going to do every month? And what are you going to do for the year when it comes to not just marketing yourself, but your expenses, right? Because we'll see, like, I just got to notice that it's August, so I got to pay my DMAR dues for next year. So that's already in my budget to pay for, right? So then what tools are you using for tracking and recording your business? You know, just because you have goals that say I'm going to make 4 calls and or like 4 notes and 4 calls and 2 notes a day has to be tracked. I actually had a friend who put together a little tracking document that I actually cut and pasted and put into my book, because I use Realty Juggler and I've got to go online and do it. So it's a little way of keeping track as I go through the day. And then last, job description for yourself, your personal assistant, and any team members, even if you have a transaction manager. My transaction manager does a little bit more than just do the paperwork for transactions to ensure that I'm on track. She actually does the brochure for listings, but she's also the person to call and say, hey, can you help me out? But we establish that relationship up front, so we know what our expectations are. Because my expectations are, if I call and you're able, please answer the phone. My transaction manager before that was a text and told me and I can't handle that.
That's a really good point. I mean, just that expectation of how to communicate with people that support you.
Yes.
There are people out there that text, and it's like, no, that's not acceptable. It's not efficient for me.
No,
You know?
and I only did that for Jill, because in the first one, my expectation was, well, my first year, everyone says I should try one, and my management book was like, oh, that's a lot of money, and that's when I got into, like, if I'm going to pay you, you need to talk to me, you know, on a regular basis. So it's important to know. And you can stop and ask any questions that you want along the way. So, you know, you have to have the plan, your vision, your mission, and what you're tracking. Know your numbers. This is where we get into the actual business side. What are your monthly personal expenses, right? You know, when I think back to when I was 25 and I started a job, they told me this is how much money I was going to make. And I adjusted into that amount of money. Well, we have the luxury of going the other way around. You want to find out what does it cost for you to live annually, and how much do you really want to make. In my case, I was like, how much do I really need to make? Because I made money. I don't want to make $1 million a year. And then last, don't forget about paying taxes. Does everybody have an LLC? If you don't have an LLC, get one. I've learned that tax avoidance is great under an LLC. So. I know, it's preferred, but there's ways you have a lot more impact over how little tax you can pay with an LLC. Don't ask me any more than that. So I have this. I took a class, a CRS class on business planning, and part of the whole expense thing is you got to really understand kind of one. You really need to do a thorough scrubbing of what your expenses are. So, and I can email you, this is this Excel workbook. And what I did was they gave us all this in paper, and I recreated it in Excel because I actually go through this process. So for this purposes, this is my template. You can take these boxes in Excel and do whatever you want. You'll see a lot of things like for my under my household, it says generator service. I have a generator at my cabin. That's the service for 2 years, so I wonder what does it cost. So there may be some oddball things in here that you're like, well, let's go. This is Rob wanted, and you can take it to make it whatever you want. But you got all your household. What's your mortgage, rent? What are your utilities? Phone bill, blah blah blah. I get ADT in here, trash, snow plow for the cabin. And then, building wealth on the top right. You got a mortgage. Lots of us like to pay extra in a mortgage. So that's got to be calculated into what you need per month and per year. Do you have any loans? And then number 3, car payment, insurance. And number 4, groceries and restaurants. I think I broke mine out because I lean more towards the restaurant side than the grocery side. And then education, which is number 6. It's important in our business to keep ourselves educated, right? So we have to pay for some classes. And also you need to buy books. And so there's a text. Number 5, medical. What are your medical charges? 7, I have charities because, and you can see my 2 big ones, Project Abraham, one Colorado. Trying to make sure that, on a monthly basis, I have money for my annual gift. And then clothing. You want to buy clothes. New dry cleaning, alteration, and repair. I realize I made a lot of money, have a lot of clothes. I don't need to buy any clothes. Next page under recreation, right? All the things that you need. You go to the movies, you go to sporting events. You take vacations, because we all want to take vacation, right? You got to build it into your budget, because you need to determine how much money you need to earn, or how much money you want to spend in order to have that lifestyle you want, right? So you put everything in here that you want. Taxes, with real estate taxes on your house, if you own your house, you're not paying for it in your mortgage, any tax prep. And then at the bottom, it's going to give you what your category, it's going to add it up automatically by category. Under personal expenses, for household, building up, installment loans, boom. Bottom up is personal expenses total and how much it is per month that you need to live. Okay. Questions?
No, for if you have kids or kids, you should always add a number.
Yep. Yeah, it's an Excel spreadsheet.
Excel. Great.
Yes, they do. Because when I got a dog last year, they did about it.
Kids.
Yeah, I don't have any kids. So.
I estimate a dog costs about $30,000 over the life of the dog. Well, I mean, you think about it, your vet bills, your food, your additional wear and tear on your carpet, additional detail cleanings of your car. I mean, people don't think about that, but I mean, I've got to spend a lot more cleaning my car now.
Yeah, that's right.
She sheds like crazy.
Mine doesn't. So, put it all on here. This is the first time you go through it. This is not a 30-minute deal, because you may have to go think about it. What kind of vacation do you want? What are all the things if you buy lottery tickets? You got to put it on here. No, I'm serious. It's got to be everything, right? Because you need to determine how much you need to make so that you can set your goal appropriately for your business. So don't. This is the one area you can't push to be budget, right? Or else you're not going to be happy.
Well, I like that you can put everything out here very comprehensively, and you also have to start allowing for things like tires on your car. I mean, I've had my car a year and a half. I just spent $900 on tires. I mean, that's an expense.
And you don't think about those things. And when I worked in corporate America and I got a salary, I didn't think about half the stuff I was paying for. I actually was able to go through and stop paying for a lot of stuff that I was an automatic payment. Just because it didn't matter. What's $15 a month for Pandora or whatever? Because it didn't matter. But now it matters because I'm the breadwinner. So think about that. So after you identify all your business or your personal expenses and what you as an individual need or as a family, because wives and kids or husbands, we need to talk about, now that you know what you want to spend, what do you need to earn? right? So how are we going to get there? If you got your taxable income, you want to find out what's left after transaction fees. I crossed out commission splits down below, but in above. But now we want to work on our business expenses, right? So now that we know what we need to run our personal lives, what do we need to run our business? So if you go to page 3 in the handout, I think it's pages 3 and 4. We go to business operation expenses. Starting with number 1, office expenses. Office space, we don't have any here, some people do. Office equipment, copier, fax, printer, the ink for the printer at home. You got to calculate. These are all actually tax deductible things because you're running a business. So, if you have a copier, you rent it, just put an amount per month and say I need to buy a new printer every year depending on the type you want to buy. Under 2 on the right, technology. Am I going to need to buy a computer this year? Am I going to buy an iPhone? I'm already budget iPhone 8 and new Apple Watch 3. So, and I already have it earmarked in my personal budget. That's what I'm doing. Do you need a digital camera? And then number 3 is your cost for communications for your mobile phone. Do you have a fax line? Do you have internet access? Web hosting fee? Do you need legal fees? Insurance. We all have insurance. Medical insurance. We all have E&O insurance for sure. Life insurance. Put it all in here because those are all business expenses. Everything with financial under number 5. So you turn the page. You got an assistant, transaction manager, and what does that cost? Figure out the number of transactions and how many times you're going to use them. Then number 8, all your professional dues, your realtor dues, your MLS, license renewal, CT&E for the year. Well, CT&E you do for the year. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't pay for the year. So, it's the showing, CSS. You can choose per transaction or per year. But these are all the costs, because remember, especially with these, now that we're coming into the second half of the year, all of these are going to be due before the end of the year. CT&E, DMAR, they're all going to be due, so you want to have them in your budget. So as you're working throughout the year, from November, you're like, oh my God, I forgot about that. It's $300 in the pot. Over here, got education again as a business. What do we need? And then automobile. Under 11, business reserves. So how long you need to know how much you need in your personal life to know how many months you would like to go without getting paid. And you need to save for the months that you're not getting paid. When I open my QuickBooks, take that number out and put it in an Excel spreadsheet, it tells me that number for my business banking account tells me exactly how many months I have based upon my expenses. So it could already book it out by mortgage, insurance, and a bunch of prepaid stuff that I have for the year, including MLS fees. It tells me exactly how many months I have based upon my current deposits within my business.
And I think the important thing to consider is your business will cost you money even if you're not making money.
True.
And so if you have a transaction that fails, you basically did all the work. You put 800 miles on your car to do this. You took the photos. You spent the time on the marketing or whatever. You still had to pay for that regardless. You have to allow for a certain degree of failure in your business because it will happen. Even you're going to have a transaction. Something's going to happen. You're going to get that phone call. Hey, I got this phone call. The buyer bought $6,000 worth of furniture right before closing. Thankfully, we were able to save the deal, but that could have fallen apart. That could have been a $10,000 check we didn't get, even though we did all the work. We still spent that money running that. So realize that you're going to have, and the more business you have, the more expenses you have. So every time I take a buyer on, just figure how much it's going to cost roughly for that buyer. And you're taking a business risk too when you take a buyer on. Because that buyer, if they don't end up buying, you will have spent the time and the money with them. And you'll bought them coffee, you'll have bought dinner, whatever, you'll have driven them around, And so consider that as part of the cost and realize you're not going to have, not every person you put in the car, we all have those. And you're going to have to plan for failure. You fail your way to success. So you're going to have I can remember when I first started, the number of my failure rate was somewhat high. I had people wasting my time. They never bought. Some of them have never bought subsequent. I've followed up scenes they have never bought. They were would be. They thought they wanted to buy. They changed their mind, changed their careers, lost their jobs, whatever. Moved out of state. Who knows?
Good point. Very, very, very good point. The other thing I always do is when I get a commission check. Well, first of all, I never focus on how much I'm getting paid because I really don't care if the transaction is 95,000 or 950,000. I really don't. I just call it in the win column because they all average out. In May, I sold a condo for 165, and she bought a house for 235. Well, for 1 month. Well, was that $10,000-$12,000? That's pretty damn good. If I could do that all year long. So I don't really care what the price is. And I keep saying a lot. But anyway, from every transaction, first of all, I don't focus on the dollars literally until I have to fill out the CDA for my closing. And then I take 25% out of that. It goes towards my marketing. 30% goes towards taxes. And I set it aside in a bucket, so I'm not looking at one big large check for $18,000. It's like, oh my God, that's all my money, because it isn't all my money. So that's one thing you want to remember too. So exactly, yeah. So I allocate now. If I get a check for 18 grand, 25% goes in the bucket for marketing, 30% goes for taxes, and generally I'll pay 30% of taxes, but I consider that to be kind of like the gravy, that the buffer that I can buy a lunch if you're there, and it kind of adds up. So, but you have to stay on top of the numbers, which as sales people, or if I'm a salesperson, more than I'm a financial person, it's really key because I'm not making enough money to outrun everything where I don't have to do it. So, okay, questions so far? This is on the actual business stuff. We're going to talk about marketing expenses in just a minute. Because now that you've talked about how much money you need personally, how much money is it going to cost you to run your business, let's talk about marketing, right? Because we haven't gotten down to the actual, how am I going to get clients, how am I going to get people in the car or get my sign in their car. So when we talk about marketing, you're really marketing yourself first and the services that you provide. 9 times out of 10, unless you're selling a $10 million house, nobody cares what brokerage you're associated with. You got to think about your marketing plan. There's a couple of elements. It's got to be continuous. You got to keep doing it. Whatever you're going to do, you got to do it for a while. So I focus on my American Lifestyle magazine. Goes to my A people. My monthly Nova postcard mailing about what's going on in Denver goes to my B people, right? So there's a huge cost differential there. But I've been doing both of those now for 2 years. And what's interesting is that the people that I took somebody off of my emailing with Nova, and then the very next time I saw them, they mentioned it. I hadn't gotten a card from them in a couple of months, so I had taken them off. And so they noticed. Same thing with American Lifestyle. This when I think that people aren't liking it, I get a call. But, this is my house because I saw it at so-and-so's house and I forgot to do real estate. So, but you got to make it continuous. Systematic. You got to do stuff that you don't have to think about because right now, if you're new, you're probably not all that busy, but when you get busy, and in my first year, I had 3 transactions. It was all I could do to keep seats in the need and the brain out of the way. You want to do things, that's why I like American Lifestyle Nova, because I don't have to think about it, right? It's already addressing my A's and B's. I might try other stuff in the first 2 years, the newsletter, which I wasn't consistent in, because they're a little too hard to do. But try to do things that you can kind of create it or pay for it, and it's done. You don't have to think about it. Repetitious, you got to keep going on and on. And it's focused. Who are you focusing on? I personally focus on my sphere. I don't farm. I always try to find a way to find new people outside of my sphere, but I just keep getting pulled into my sphere. And then sometimes you got to do them all together, right? All of those things. But the most important thing is to remember that you need personal promotion to differentiate yourself. Because there's things that you may do that I do, there are things that I do. I'm a concierge. My tagline is your concierge realtor. Because having worked in corporate America, and all my friends do, when they're selling a house and you're traveling around the country, and you got Austin Congress Park and you need estimates for replacing the concrete sidewalk, the last thing you want to do while you're in Cleveland, Ohio, as a seller, is think about how do I find the sidewalk person. So I find the sidewalk person. My seller pay for it, but I do all the work for them, all the legwork. They need a pre-inspection, I get the pre, get it done. They need painting done, I find the painter, let the painter in. So that's what I do. There's a lot of people don't want to do that. But I'm not a high number of transactions. But that's the service I provide. So you need to just decide how you want to differentiate yourself. Okay? And as we all know, there's lots of different types of marketing options. They all cost money. None of them are free. Mail, whether it's bank notes or just postcards, whether it's a pre-listing card or coming soon card, sold card. Whether you're going to pick up the phone every day and call them.
John's.
No wonder you haven't been getting any phone calls.
So I got an offer for you, John.
Yeah. So these are the marketing options. They don't need to go through them all, but they all cost money. So when you think about you're putting your business plan together, which are the ones that you want to go after? How much is it going to cost when you get started? Okay?
What's a good number of those? I mean, you can't do them all. You can't do just one. How many do you think it's a good number to kind of target on? 2 or 3 things that you do well? And just
I would say 2 or 3. I would say 2. I have my 2 standbys, right? Sorry, say it again. That's not one but like right now, I'm trying HomeBot because I know that I don't like email marketing because all my clients have been through my sphere, and I want them to open an email when I say, let's go out for drinks versus them getting bombarded with email. Like I was going to do email thing with American Lifestyle magazine, but like the email throughout the month. And I was like, I can't, and I was looking at their articles, and I was like, my friends don't know me as the show me the flower guy or the recipe guy. I mean, yeah, they get recipes in the magazine, but for me to send them or have it come from my name, they would do that. That ain't Rob Green. So I'm testing HomeBot because I like it. I like it personally, and actually, people do like it. So
talk about HomeBot, though. What that is.
HomeBot, and I'm doing it through. HomeBot is a monthly email that either your client or your store will get that tells you the value of your home. It's based upon a computer model. It don't ask you all the data that it pulls from, but it'll say, your home, like my house in Bailey, 261 North Bailey Drive, now worth $365,000. And I'll say, and your mortgage is this. You have your mortgage for this long. And it'll show you, like, I think the acceleration of tells you where your value has come from. Like, so it'll tell me mine's like gone up 40 or 50% since I bought the house. And it'll tell you if you pay X dollars more per month, this is how much it'll be. It's really informational, but I like it because it's really good because it gives people a snapshot into what their value of their home is worth today.
it's like a website.
It's not a website. You got to go through a lender to do it. I know that I'm doing it through Guild Mortgage, and I've heard of other mortgage companies. And I can send you what a sample one looks like. And I send it for it's $25 a month, but that's a co-pay with the lender. So if they sponsor it, you pay like that. And everybody likes it except for one client that is in a unique situation, that lives in a unique place, and nobody sold his house around it, so the value goes a little bit off. But I get normally people going, this is great, I like it. So that's another way of keeping it fun. But otherwise I don't do it.
I think one thing, you just hit the nail on the head. You said you're not into the recipes and so I feel like I joke around. There's the Easter Bunny realtor, and then there's the data realtor, and there's somewhere in between. I'm more of a data-driven realtor, so I typically am more. Here's what's happening in the market. I'm an Excel spreadsheet junkie. One of my clients actually sent me a picture of the pet, or one of those little poof things or whatever they send out for Easter, the yellow things, peeps, yeah. So some realtor put peeps on their door, and this realtor is farming the neighborhood. And they sent it to me as a joke, said, this realtor is bribing us with peeps, what are you going to bribe us with, kind of thing. And, And obviously I knew I had to live, but it was just kind of a joke. But the whole point being is some realtors do that kind of stuff. Some people like it. It draws a certain client. You may need to determine, am I going to spend my money putting peeps on people's doors, or am I going to spend my money on a home bot, or am I going to do a newsletter? You can do a newsletter for nothing. I did a newsletter every month, and I did that for the first couple of years I was in business. I just gave up because it took too much time, and I did it for free. I literally sent it right out of my Outlook, and I did a BCC, and I sent it to my own email, and I sent it to everybody, and it was a huge success. And I put a lot of time into my newsletter. I was spending probably 15, but I became a market expert by studying, preparing, and reading for my newsletter. And I even put stuff in that was related to clients, and I changed up numbers. Like if I knew a client was thinking about a certain thing, I would put a story in there that was similar to what their situation was. And that could be a very low cost. You don't need to spend a fortune on that.
I was talking to John a couple weeks ago, and I was like, be careful, because you get emails all the time. People want to suck money directly from your wallet, and we're going to help you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm Mr., I'm not a believer. So, you want me to give it to me for free for a little while, then I'll pay you for it. But normally, they're just trying to suck money out of you. So that's my personal opinion. So you just have to be careful with what you're doing, but, keep to the things of, keep it continuous, systematic, repetitious, whatever you do. And don't boil the ocean and try to do every marketing video there is, right? So keep it to the minimum. Keep it simple. Kind of your marketing planning, you need to identify, what am I going to do every day? What are my activities I'm doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually? I think my daily activities are like 4 calls, 2 notes, 5 calls, which can now be 5 calls, texts, or emails. And I'm actually using my American Lifestyle mailing list as my calls. 2 personal notes a day, and then reviewing open transactions and accountability calls. Those are my daily minimum things to do. Weekly, I put on here run 3 times a week. You don't put that on there, you're not going to do it, right? If that's important to you. Well, this morning there's a lot going on in my day, and I was like, if I don't run today, I'm going to be so stressed out because about the day. So that's important to me. 2 Facebook posts, 3 face-to-face lunch, dinner, drinks during the week, 1 unsolicited email. And then monthly updating mailing lists. I'm doing CMAs for anniversaries of closings. Annually, I like doing a New Year's card to my sphere. And semi-annually, I have like a letter to my sphere. So you need to put down what you're going to do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. You need to review it. Like this morning, I was saying, like, so yeah, I did this for the second half of the year as opposed to doing it for the full year. So when, at the beginning of September, I should be looking at what am I going to be doing in February, or start thinking about incorporating February. Just keeping the calendar of your brain. Yeah.
Every week or every other week or once a month.
Yeah. If that is your goal, if you want to do 4 open houses a month, put it on your thing so you know if you're tracking to it or not to it. I'm not a big open house kind of guy. I mean, I don't mind doing it with my listing, but I know a lot of people are. So if that's what your goal is to help drive your business, that is marketing. So put it on.
Yeah.
Thanks for that catch. Okay. So once you got all that, you got your plan going. Now you're going to talk about. Well, we're not there yet. We need to figure out how much is this all going to cost us, right? Because without that, we don't know how many houses we sell or list, right? So also in this package, there is a page on marketing expenses. And the first box is all about promotion of yourself. Postcards, business cards, letters, brochures, video, all the things. So you'll see on here, Nova Mailing and American Lifestyle Magazine, because those are the ones that I do. So that's why they're what are your listing expenses going to be for signs? I don't know how many signs you need to buy because don't go out and buy all your signs right now. Wait until you need them. I switched companies this year and I waited. And then a huge difference the last time I went on order all these signs. and I wound up using them, but it cost like $4,000 right off the bat. So wait until you actually need them. But plan for them. Just don't spend the money until you get there. What kind of presentation materials do you need? If you're going to write letters to FSBOs or expires, how much paper am I going to need? Gifts and thank you notes. Thank you cards, I probably spend $1 bazillion on thank you cards because I do send a lot of thank yous. I send handwritten thank yous. There's one thing on my it's a paperless post, another one where you can actually write on it on a card and you get it electronically. That I like the old-fashioned in the mail, but people open it. So if I'm actually going to do a mailing, I do it in the mail, not in the email. So people are going to open it, and they know it's for me, but I know they'll open snail mail because we don't get that. Any special events that you want to do during the year? You want to have a client party? Well, you knew, maybe not, but you also probably want to do. When I was new, I had a January party the first 2 years. My birthday's in January. Nobody does anything in January, and I selected based on my spheres, 50 or 60 people. Cater, blah, blah. So you want to make sure that you are staying within whether it's your sphere or the people that you're trying to market to, right? So you're going to try to go to Observatory Park and you sell there. How can you get to meet people there? Can you buy them? I don't know what the local coffee shop is and hand them off to people that you meet. So those are the things that you need to keep track or make sure that you have a plan for it. It's all about having a plan, right? Once you fill, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it. Once you've completed your personal expenses, your business expenses, and your marketing expenses, it's going to give you a grand total. And it's going to give you a grand total for the year. We'll break it up by month. This is how much money you need to run your personal life and your business life. And that's how you're then going to determine how many houses you need. So I have on the bottom here, I put in my prior year sales volume, prior year net income after split. Number of sites, that was 50-50 for the first 2 years. I think I'm about the same now. Average sales price and average commission. So what's the average price of a house or condo? And if you're new and you've not done it, if you're farming an area, what's the average price of it? I would go with a combo of single family and condo. So what are you chasing? What's that average sale dollar? Is going to determine how many deals you need to do to make the amount of money. Questions? I think I got one more thing. Oh yeah, how many deals can you close? Forget all the words. Is where I got high and plus. And forget all the words, but really, what's your sales volume and how many houses? So start with what the average value of a house is, right? Take a look, how many of those do you need to sell? And I always go on the low side of 2.8, not 3 or 3.2. I use 2.8 because it'll just make it easier. You can break it out into, but on your first year, just go with 2.8. And after the better historical, you can break it out. And how many transactions do I need to do in order to make the goal that I have? And this says you need leads. How many? Nobody gives us leads. It's going to be, now that I know that I need to sell 20 houses, 20 transactions in a year to get to the number I need, to get to those 20 transactions, how many prospects do I need? What's the ratio? And it's harder for me to break that up in real estate sales as it used to be when I was selling copiers, right? Because I always knew, 4 prospects in, I always got at least 1 out. It all depends upon your working. There's a lot of competition. And, you're competing with people. And I deal with my spheres, so I would say when I get 99% of them, it's not like I'm competing. I probably have done only 4 listing presentations in my entire 3 years. So which I know what is different than everybody else. But how many, in order to get to 20, how many people do I need in my database to get to 20? 80, 100, 120?
And there used to be a saying that every A contact you have in your database translates to $1,000 a year commission. A contact. So if you have 100 A contacts, you're making 100 grand a year gross commission. And there's probably a lot of truth to that. I mean, you really analyze how many people do you know, and and you have good relationships with. And one of the things I would say is go through your telephone and start looking and saying, and do not ever delete. I know a lot of people say clean your database out. Never, ever, ever. Go create a group, and you can do this. You can hide contacts in there, and I have like old contacts, and I hide them in there. And if oh my gosh, I'm at a party and I see someone I haven't seen in 15 years, I click on the old contact sometimes, and I'll put search words in my notes, and I'll be like, I knew this person liked horses, or I knew this person liked mountain biking, and it'll be amazing. I'll find their name, and I'll come up, and I'll put notes like the names of their kids, the names of their, other information, and having that information makes you look so much, oh my gosh, that person feels so valued. I haven't seen you in 15 years, and you're like, hey, yeah, gosh, Johnny has to be in college by now, or whatever, and put that information in there, and sometimes you're like, I found the information,
Well, whatever number you come up with is the number you need to track to, right? So if you need 100 people in your database to get to the number you need, those are the people you need to be calling, writing letters, taking out for coffee, and taking out for lunch. You can narrow it down or get referrals. Anything different than that?
No, when I started real estate, I was very for Walmart, things like that. So I remember the number 131. 100 people that I met, 30 would be my prospects.
I like that.
131.
I like that number. That's about right. 100 people.
You're talking like a raw prospect, like somebody you don't
30
know.
prospects that I need to move into a client, and then I will go on. And there's the following number. What I have to make another 30.
Right.
Yeah. If you had to meet 100 to get 30.
Yeah. So 30.
That sounds.
Sounds about right. Really. And then,
But I think you'll find in your richer sphere, your closer friends. You were saying you're a formally trained chef. I look and I say, people who come to my house for dinner, eating at my dinner table at my house, the majority of them use major rule. So how many people do you know? And a good portion of them will probably be buying real estate. And so get to know them, invite them over, hang out, build that relationship, build that trust.
No, I'm talking about it. I've lived in Denver for 21 years, so I know people on the board and stuff. But about Mike, he's a big corporate career. So you probably know a lot of people at our age that are, my first year was my friends that were getting rid of their rental properties. And then, now I seem to be, they're either first-time home buyers or they're downsizing. So I would like to find people that I don't know. It takes a lot of work for that. But I just haven't found anybody that meets my fancy for the right price and to deliver the right, what I want, which is a clean deal. So, but everybody operates differently, and everybody, the all saw me in action in Starbucks, and then within 3 minutes, I knew a right story and sent my card, but nothing.
Oh, I've sold to total strangers, but yeah, you're probably about 100 to 30 to 1. You got to meet 100 total strangers. And you have a lot of fun with it. Let's be honest, it's gonna be fun to meet.
So,
Your mentality.
That's hard on us.
Yeah.
yeah, you never know.
The mentality thing, because when you could be in Starbucks and you found somebody that, I'm having a conversation with one, and then like 2, and like 3, instead of just being a plain, what are the careful today?
Watch out for Lorraine.
Yeah. That's what she purchasing trips here.
So the last slide I have was you want your income to be X. 50% of my stuff is going to come from listings. What's the average sales price of a house? How many listings do I need to reach my goal? Ratio of listings to sold, I think it's 50%. And the bottom half is for if you're on the buy side. So that will determine how many you need to do. And it's a little harder to explain without doing that. But that's pretty, once you look at it, once you plug in your stuff, you can figure it out. Anything that's in red is where you need to input stuff. Good day.
Okay, we have this, we send this one?
Yes. Can somebody send me?
Everybody's email?
and
So
send
you
me-
have it also, send it to me, and then I'll just.
Okay. Okay. Questions, thoughts?
Very well done.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
well, very impressive,
Good info.
thank you.
Well,
Thanks for that.
Yeah. I just would like to help people not make all the same mistakes, but you need to make some of your own. But my big advice is
Sometimes find your comfort zone,
Yeah,
and not only can talk about the style and technique. You don't like donuts, you don't focus on donuts. So I get it, but you don't like it.
I tend to like bartenders. Bartenders know a lot of people. You go Monday night, they have, my wife and I go out and have a drink. We went out last night. And you go at happy hour, and chicken wings were 65 cents a piece, and the drinks were half price. My wife and I sat there and ate dinner last night for, it was $22. I had 2 beers, my wife had her 1 drink, and I met about 6 people, and then I know the bartender because I go there once every couple of months or so, and I just handed her, I said, hey, I just changed careers, and I gave her a lot of business cards because she talks to people all the time. So my wife said, one Monday a month we're going to go have dinner at this place, and go on Wednesday to this place. And,
Oh, by the way, that dinner is taxable.
yeah, I know. I know. I got the receipt.
It's a business expense. Yeah.
But those people talk and they pass word around. And sometimes, a drink opens up. Anybody that's shy, I'm not shy. I don't mind going out. I go talk to strangers too. My wife says, you'll have 10 friends in a few minutes. Total strangers, but I never applied it to real estate till now because I was,
You're self-promoting all the time.
Exactly.
And that also comes into the fire too. Like, how are you dressed when you're going places? I know I dress a lot better all the time than I used to, and I didn't care about, if I went down to Whole Foods to pick up something, I didn't care. But now I care because exactly first impressions is what people, when they meet you, whether you're in a bar or whatnot, they're judging the book by its cover. So I think that's what they do. So,
Well, I worked for 20 years at a certain time. I started going to, and I have a neighborhood, not that I'm wow, but it's so
There's another group that meets it.
I started going in without I started going in without a tie and jacket. I just can't help it. I don't go out in a t-shirt or whatever. And people thought I was like, what's the matter? Did you get fired or what? You don't want to tie? I said, no, I quit. I didn't get fired, I quit. And there's a lot of other stuff. I have to do it at church. And my wife goes a lot of times goes to the bar and doesn't have a drink either. I see her have a drink or two when I go, but my wife, a lot of times I have other friends who go to the bar and don't drink. It's not a matter of